Okay, in this example, we're going to run the following code shown here in the editor. I've just named this ECE1304 plot demo. Basically, what's going on here is there is a time vector setup. We're going from 0 to 2 pi in increments of 0.1. So t is set up first, and then y1 is set up here, and I can go ahead and do a return on that so you can see that on a different line. Y1 is set up to be the sine of t. And then basically what we're doing is we're plotting t over pi as our time axis. We're plotting y1. We're plotting minus in a straight line. We're plotting red, and we're plotting O's. Now let's come up here. Notice the time axis is going from 0 to 2 pi, and we're taking the sine from 0 to 2 pi, and then we're actually plotting units of t over pi. So it's going to go, our axis is going to go from 0 to 2. So let's do that, and then notice we have, so what I want to do is, first of all, we're going to run the overall code and see what it does. After the initial plot command, you'll notice we tell it to put on a grid, then we tell it to plot, to add a title, we tell it to add an X label, and we tell it to add a Y label. So we're just going to run this as is and let you see what the output looks like. First, I'm going to clear all, and then we'll run the program. Okay, so as you can see, what has happened is we've generated a graph. It has a solid line, and then at each point in the array, it's got a circle. The x-axis goes from 0 to 2, so we've actually taken t, which was 0 to 2 pi, and we divided it by pi. That doesn't have any physical meaning other than to show you that you can do it this way. And then the y-axis, basically the plot defaults and gives you the correct axis height for the output of y, so it fits the curve to the output. So let's come back now, because what I want to do is I want to come back and let's look at what each individual line does. So first, let's clear all, and then I want to come up to this first, actually to this first plot command, where we don't really do anything other than just plot the curve. Okay, so let's do that. And now we can come up to our window, and you'll see figure 1 shows up here, just like we talked about earlier. So we're going to pull up figure 1. Okay, so what I have here in figure 1 is I just have a very simple plot with nothing but a curve. Also, we're showing the straight line for the curve. We're showing the circles for the points. So then we're going to start one line at a time and reproduce this. So first, let's tell this to add a grid. And so now if we view our figure 1, you notice that MATLAB has added a grid. And now we'll ask it to do the title command. And we'll view our figure again. And so there you go, it's added a title command. And notice the title command has specified the font size, it's specified the color to be red. So let's see what happens if we repeat that. Okay, I've actually copied the, so let's come up, and instead of 18, let's put 12, and instead of red, let's put cyan. And let's see what happens when we do that. So we'll pull our figure up again, and you'll notice that it has changed the color and it's changed the font size. Okay, so what's interesting here is previously we had plotted, and we'll just come back to our workspace and use the up arrow to bring back the previous command. And let's go back now and look at our graph again. Notice that each time I enter a new title, it doesn't hold on to the old title. It basically puts in a new title. So it's gonna, every time you use that title, it's gonna basically overwrite what you had before. And then finally, let's insert our X label and our Y label. Sorry, Mac is acting a little funky. Okay, we'll copy that. And doing the copy and paste here because I just want to step through this one line at a time so you can see what it does. So now let's paste it and we'll do that part. Okay, now once again, let's pull up our graph, figure 1, and now you can see it's inserted y-axis and x-axis. You can also see that at this point we did not specify a color, and so it's just defaulting to black. Alright, so I want to do, let's say y2 is sine of 2t. And now let's sorry about that. Forgot to put my semicolon. So now let's tell it to hold on. And now I want to come to my plot, and instead of y1, I want to do y2. And instead of red, I want to do cyan. And so let's do this and let's see what happens. So if I now pull up to my window, if I pull up figure 1, you can see it's plotted here, the blue line, which is our cyan line, along with the red line, which just we've plotted a different function onto our existing graph. So basically the point is you can basically manipulate things like your title, etc. On a MATLAB plot in order to make some really nice looking and